Hi, I'm Philip Hundl. I'm an attorney. My practice focuses on land litigation, primarily representing landowners facing eminent domain condemnation cases. Also, when I refer to land litigation, I also actually right now have a lot of land partition cases going on. And so this concept is an interesting concept. What I want to talk to you all today about is highest and best use of land, pipeline corridors, and that being the highest and best use of property. So there's a recent Court of Appeals, First District Court of Appeals out of Houston, came out with an opinion, and I'm not going to go into all the legalese or the legal procedural parts of this case, but it came out June 18, 2020. You know, if you're facing condemnation as a landowner, or actually needing to partition some property amongst you and some co-owners, probably family members, it's always important to take into consideration highest and best use of the land, or what the land's used for. So obviously you shouldn't consider land that's along a busy highway that's very much in line for future development, future retail, commercial, as just strictly agricultural use land or recreational land. So that's a pretty easy concept. I think everybody agrees with that. But also, if you have some property that has pipelines on it, multiple pipelines on it, your property could very well be, that particular strip of land or part of the property could be the highest and best use as a pipeline corridor. Now, this concept or theory has been around for a long time, and I'm bringing it up more because it is a topic of the Hlavinka versus HSC Pipeline Partnership LLC case. I just mentioned Court of Appeals, Texas First District, and interestingly, the Hlavinka is Terry Hlavinka, Kenneth Hlavinka, and Thres Bayou Farms LP, and Terrence Hlavinka Cattle Company. I know Terrence Hlavinka, referred to as Terry Hlavinka, from East Bernard. His brief history, he's a big Aggie. He was a Yale leader at A&M. I'm an Aggie, so we know each other through some of the Wharton County A&M club stuff in the past. So anyway, interesting to read a case, and it's involves someone that you personally know. So in this case, landowner, the Hlavinkas, have a large tract of land in Brazoria County. It's when I say a large tract, it's 15 to 16,000 acres, and this tract has lots of pipelines on it, pipeline easements on it, and this property, the way it's geographically located, and obviously all along the coast and getting to the coast, these pipelines always end up at the coast, Freeport area, Brazoria County, different parts of Brazoria County, or through Brazoria County going to Jefferson County or Harris County. It is strategically located and very much useful to contain pipelines. So highest and best use is a pipeline corridor. A pipeline corridor, land for a pipeline corridor has a much higher value than land as just recreational or agricultural. So in this case, that was one of the valuation opinions of this land, was its highest and best use is a pipeline corridor. And Mr. Hlavinka testified through deposition about why his opinion, and landowners can have an opinion, and I always use the term, landowners can opine, so they can have an opinion on the value of their property. The law has said that, there's case law that says that, and so he was doing that. And of course the pipeline company wanted to try to convince the court that no, he cannot have that, or his testimony should not be admissible as to value of the land, and his idea of valuing the land as a pipeline corridor and not just agricultural land. And so, and the Court of Appeals said, no, Mr. Levinka, or the court should consider his testimony and this valuation testimony of a pipeline corridor. So that's kind of the long and short of that case. Don't want to get too much into it. It dealt with some other very interesting issues that we'll talk about in future videos. But why that comes up is if your property is being affected by a pipeline, or for that matter, a power line, but if it's being affected by one of these projects, and it fits some of the characteristics or category or characteristics of a pipeline corridor or of a power line corridor, it's a valuation methodology, or it's a valuation that you have to consider and you should consider. And I've got several cases right now that have landowners that their land absolutely the highest and best use. In their opinion, as landowners, my opinion from doing this is it's a pipeline corridor, or once again, a power line corridor, but it is a corridor for something, an infrastructure project, as these are described sometimes, and not just agricultural pasture. So just have it top of mind when you're dealing with, when you're faced with condemnation or faced with a partition case. Take into consideration all these unique characteristics of the property, because that part of the property may be considered or have a much higher value. I always look at it as, and there's used some illustrations. I think they're pretty good illustrations. But think about a pizza. So if you have a big, large pizza, and nowadays you can order pizza. We get online and we order Domino's pizza by our phone. You can make that pizza pretty much however you want. So in my family, everybody's got different tastes, and so I love Super Supreme or Supreme, and so I'll have a quarter of that pizza being a Supreme, and then a quarter of it just pepperoni, and then another quarter of it pepperoni and hamburger and sausage, and then another quarter of it is purely just cheese. Well, so I think that's a perfect example of different unique characteristics of that pizza, right? So the quarter that's cheese shouldn't have the same value as the quarter that's Supreme. So, and it doesn't. I mean, so believe me, that pizza is not. Domino's doesn't charge you as if that whole pizza is cheese. So, so that's, to me, kind of a good illustration. I've seen that illustration used by certified land appraisers on valuation of land. So just always remember that that Supreme piece of pizza or quarter of that piece of pizza would be essentially retail, commercial, pipeline corridor, highest and best use for that land. The cheese, potentially recreational, lower agricultural type valuation, if that's the case. So anyway, hopefully that's helpful. Please keep that in mind in your, like I said, if you're facing a condemnation case in which your position should be you have a pipeline corridor and the land should be valued higher, and also take that in consideration if you're dealing with a land partition, and these are some of the unique characteristics that you're facing. Okay, good luck. Thanks.